For any of you that don't think that the city of Chicago, from the mayor on down through the entire police department, doesn't stink to high heavens, here's a further update on the Laquan McDonald case.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, folks. Let's go to Chicago, where all of a sudden the Laquan McDonald murder case continues to draw scrutiny. Attorneys for the McDonald family now claim Chicago police pressured eyewitnesses into changing their stories about what they saw the night Officer Jason Van Dyke fatally shot the 17-year-old 16 times.
There were at least 3 eyewitnesses that were in the drive-thru of the Burger King that were taken to a police station, separated, put in different rooms, and interviewed by police, detectives, sergeants, lieutenants. Court of silence, thin blue wall. I mean, I think that's an accurate description of what happened here. And quite frankly, it happens on almost every fatal shooting.
The McDonald camp alleges police questioned at least 3 witnesses and threatened them to change their stories about what they saw the night of the shooting. The attorney's report played out in over 3,000 pages of documents related to the case, and also point to claims officers higher up in command falsified witness accounts to support the initial report from officers at the scene. When asked about the new findings, Mayor Rahm Emanuel's office released this statement saying, quote, "The police actions surrounding this shooting are under investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice for possible criminal charges and by the city's Inspector General for possible disciplinary action. The public deserves answers to a number of important questions in this case, and we eagerly await the findings of those investigations." Of course, this is also after Mayor Rahm Emanuel said there was no conspiracy in this case, no cover-up. Joining us on the phone right now from Chicago, Daily Beast reporter Justin Glaw. On the panel, Ralph Chittums, George Jefferson Nuri, and Glenn Ivey. This is the story that you wrote is amazing, because we're getting these details where literally Chicago police were active in the cover-up. We also saw where Chicago police communicated with the mayor's office about this video as well. We are seeing what is very clear as a cover-up trying to hide so much in this case.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I think that looking at it as, this is super surprising. Maybe shouldn't be done that way. I mean, this apparently is, from the inside look that we've gotten, because this email dump is, kind of the MO of Emanuel's office and, CPD when these things happen.
So, these 3,000 pages the attorneys released, was it their report? They do their own investigation?
Well, actually, this was the 3,000 pages, or however many it was. I don't know if that number is entirely accurate, but I mean, I read at least 400 pages of that. This was actually dumped by the Emanuel administration on New Year's Eve. So I think what you're seeing is that media outlets we're just kind of now catching up and reading all of these things. So, I mean, the Emanuel administration did what a lot of places do when there is these dumps that happen is, they drop it on a not very newsy night when people aren't expecting it. And then by the time media outlets catch up, it's kind of old news at that point. So, I mean, it was a very purposeful act on their part.
All right, then we'll go to the panel here. Glenn, what do you make of this as an attorney? The city already had the top city attorney who was quit because in another case he did not reveal important information to the defense.
These are pretty dramatic developments, and I would think where the Department of Justice is going to go with this next is a full-scale investigation to see how far the cover-up goes and, frankly, how high up it goes. So I would expect there to be there's a lot of documents to go through. The document dump before a holiday is a routine PR strategy for people who are trying to kind of downplay this type of information. But I would think you're going to see grand jury subpoenas and some of these officers who are in this chain of cover-up being called to testify before the grand jury. It'd be interesting to see how many of them assert the fifth, and I think that'll start giving you some sense of how far this might go. And then down the road, you're going to see some indictments, I think, of people for the cover-up.
What is amazing, Joy and Ralph, is that you in Chicago, Mayor Rahm Emanuel kept saying, no, there was no cover-up. Officers were all involved. State's Attorney Anita Alvarez, she was saying the exact same thing. Well, now all of a sudden, we're seeing a whole different story now come out because that videotape was forced to, that judge who said release the videotape, now everything is now coming out. It's a whole different story being painted.
But it was a cover-up from the beginning. We didn't even know this happened till a year after it happened. This incident happened 2 months after Michael Brown. and Rahm Emanuel was in a pitched battle for his political life. This was a cover-up from the beginning. It is now unraveling in front of Mayor Rahm Emanuel. He can't stop the process now. And I think that eventually, not only will there be indictments, but eventually he's going to have to step down, because this has been completely mismanaged from the beginning.
You're right. I mean, the conspiracy clearly goes all the way into the mayor's office.
Absolutely.
I mean, he has been involved in suppressing the tape, suppressing the evidence, you know, empowering the police to do what they have done in this case. His political career should be over as a result of this alone. Forget all the other stuff.
And I'm hoping that this is also an example to other cities on how to handle these cases. This is police protection.
Not to him.
Oh, how okay.
How not to
Okay,
handle it.
okay, I misspoke. But how to not handle these cases. That first off, the police need to be better trained. You don't shoot somebody 16 times who's walking away from you. And secondly, if it does happen, transparency, I mean, you're an elected official, transparency is the way to go. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, the mindset here was fundamentally wrong. So when you're doing an investigation and you have a shooting, you don't go in and try and convince witnesses to say something different than what they saw. And these stories about them, you know, with respect to the tape that was at the Burger King, all of that is completely the opposite of what they should be doing in these instances. And if they can't do it, them being the Chicago police, they ought to have scenarios where they have other agencies that are called in automatically to take these sorts of cases over.
Folks, hold tight 1 second. I gotta go to a break right now.
And I will submit that the way that the police handled it is not unique to Chicago. It's my belief that anytime something of this nature occurs, you're going to have police trying to cover up for their own. Just like it was earlier said, that blue wall extends across every city in America. Some walls are higher than others, and some walls are unclimbable, like this particular wall in Chicago. But then again, this unclimbable wall appears to have started to be broken down.